In a world ruled by M4s, there are those who choose a more complicated weapon system, simply because everybody has one, and you're here to find out how you too can be an Airsoft Chad for the low based. What is up, you non-M4 whores? Today we got the finality, the English word dictionary. Maybe a dictionary would help. I don't even know how to word this. You're in the market for an Airsoft AUG and want to try a new platform, or maybe this is your first Airsoft gun, want to get into it, want a decent gun to get in, and you don't like the M4 and you don't like AK. First off, why? You saved up your doubloons for 7 odd years and have acquired 150 some cash. M4s are ugly and everybody has one. So you're browsing through your little Airsoft website. You come across the little category sorting where you get to pick what gun you want, and you find yourself looking at the AUG. The other reason I have my YouTube on the gun is because everybody sees this and is like, holy shit, that motherfucker has an AUG. Who the fuck uses an AUG? Or like, that's really cool. Or that gun sounds weird. It doesn't even sound like a regular. Is that an AUG? Yeah, that all happens. So I figured since this AUG grabs attention, I might as well put my YouTube channel. And every time I use it, people are like, oh, you have a YouTube channel? And I've been gaining subscribers ever since. This beautiful AUG, surprisingly, performs really neat. It's very neat, and it's very cool to look at. You could pick this gun up at evic.com right now for actually $126. I mean, that's before tax and shipping, so we'll round up to $150, which this configuration on the picture that I'm going to use here is actually a different configuration, which is what's cool about the Snow Wolf AUG. If you're going to pick up the AUG, not only is it under $200, but you get to pick it in the different configurations. I went with the CQB style close quarters because my field is super CQB. And what's nice about this AUG is you can throw, because it's a bullpup, obviously, you can throw in a longer barrel. The gearbox is literally right here, so my barrel goes from here to like about there. If you do plan on using this on a CQB that has FPS limits, it shoots 410 out of the box. And I don't know if that's just because of the configuration I bought, or if there was, because sometimes you can sort if you want a higher FPS gun or a lower FPS gun. Thankfully, for the cheap price, it does have a quick change spring. Which, in comparison, okay, picture this, okay? This, you're looking at it, do you see? Wow, yeah. Solid build, fucking can compete at the field, as you'll see later on in this video. Threaded barrel, metal tracer, metal barrel, fun little charging handle, which reveals the Hopup, which is an ambidextrous Hopup. It has the 2-stage trigger that the AUG has. I don't know if that's the proper terminology for it, but in semi, 1 pull equals 1 boom boom. In full auto, you go 1 pull, semi still, and then you can pull it even further back for full. So it goes 1, full. So you can, without having to switch, between semi and auto, if you were at a full auto field, you're trying to nail a man at the distance, semi, full. Pretty impressive. It's a nice feature for the price point, which I was not expecting it to work like the real AUG. For a while, this was actually my main, and this can keep up on the field. And I'm not just glazing it because Snow Wolf pays me or anything, which they don't. You could tell by my subscriber numbers that, So I'm speaking just truly from experience using this weapon system. It works really well and competes really well. The reason I've got this duct tape on here is when I started taking apart my airsoft guns for cleanings or just to, for instance, throw in a bigger barrel, I wasn't paying attention, and that was the biggest thing, is I was just kind of like ripping things out and just putting it back together. There's actually a piece for the release, which the receiver release, it's like a push, and there's a pin in there that holds it in place, and when I pushed it out and pulled it out, I lost the pin because I didn't even know or see or pay attention. So if you go to take this gun apart, make sure you don't lose the pin, otherwise you're going to end up with duct tape around it. keep it from flying out in game. Let's get into the specs, or what's listed on the description for this gun on EVIC. High strength, lightweight polymer receiver. Lie. I'm gonna tell you right now, it says that. Maybe the materials, yeah, but in terms of like its actual weight and whole, it's probably the heaviest gun I own. Polymer receiver with heavy duty metal barrel, and there's where the heavy duty comes in. But the most of the weight and the weight distribution is in the back, so it's very back heavy because the whole gearbox is here. If I were to just, you can see the weight wants to go to the back. Now this is if you buy the version with the carry handle, but there is a built-in AUG carry handle with 20mm compatible rail. QD barrel system for easy maintenance. Integrated bottom rail for accessories including vertical grip. Locking charging handle and mock bolt for easy hop-up adjustment. That is true. You can do the, I know it's not an HK, but you can do the famous HK slap with it. Like a lesson elite force with your UMP. I could do this all day. The FPS range goes from 390 to 420. It does have a proprietary mag, which is kind of annoying. So this isn't the mag it comes with. It comes with a shitty ass high cap, and we all hate high caps. But these mid caps were $10 a pop. They do make more expensive AUG mags, but for if you're just trying to get into airsoft and you're on a budget, I'll put the best budget options in the description if you want to get into the AUG platform or are just starting out airsoft and need to get ready to go. It is Lipo. This $130 gun, $150 gun can take Lipo. It's a Lipo gun, which is really crazy. And I've been using this gun for 2 years. It's been my main for a year and a half, and I've run an 11-1 Lipo, and I haven't had any issues with it electrically. It does have the short type motor because this is a version 3 gearbox, so the gearbox in here is what you would expect to see out of an AK. It shoots really good, and in my opinion doesn't need any upgrades, especially for CQB and even more for an outdoor field, because you're not always in close engagements where you just gotta be like rapid fire, you know, feathering the trigger. This gun shoots fast enough to compete with people who feather their triggers like they feather their clit, but it also shoots fast enough to be outside. Snowwolf makes this AUG in so many different configs, and if you want to go as low as 130, you can. So let's talk about the pros and cons. I've been going on about the pros all day. Pros are, it's a very good replica. It does have a threaded barrel, so you could throw on a tracer unit. Transitioning from right shoulder to left shoulder is you actually don't have to switch hands. It's as simple as taking the rifle, keeping the same trigger hand, moving it over, and just swapping. What I do is I take my left hand and I throw it on the magazine like this for easy left peaks, and that's a huge pro in terms of gameplay because it's a quicker transition from right shoulder to left shoulder like that. It has the charging handle, it has a good hop up, the mag release is very easy, the mags are cheap, it can compete, so if it's your first budget, if you want a budget AUG, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get on the field with an AUG platform. Comes with the grip, that's always fun. Quick change spring on the rear, it's nice thick wiring, and it has this big ass fuse. I use like a little like rectangular 11-1 Lipo that I just plop right in there, plug in, and it just folds up nice and neat like that. It doesn't have the most amount of battery space, so you're limited to the Lipo batteries that are small and rectangular. So now we get into the cons of the gun. First, an obvious con that I've said numerous times, not just in this video but on the channel, is it is very, very fucking heavy. It is beefy. For the threads, for some reason on this particular configuration, the threads are poked behind the lower attachment rail and the upper attachment rail. If this was just built to the barrel, which I don't know why they didn't do it that way. So if you have like a stubby tracer unit like I have for most of my Airsoft AUGs, it doesn't fit on these threads because these two parts are in the way. which is why I have this suppressor tracer configuration, because this little nut on the tracer sticks out before the actual unit itself, whereas if the threads were on the tracer right here, it wouldn't be able to go on, but luckily they're not, so I do have one way of throwing a tracer on this gun. Another huge con is the mostly plastic construction. Some very key vital mounting points, which you wouldn't think it. This back plate isn't just a cover, but serves for some structural integrity of the gearbox. It can easily be broken. For mounting points, like on the back plate, they should have had like at least metal threading for it. So some of the plasticky parts on it are very easy to break if you don't take care of it. If you're a kid, and this is no offense to any children out there, or like if you want to buy this gun for your kid, but if your kid doesn't take care of things and just kind of beats and abuses it, this gun would not be good for that. If you don't take care of your airsoft guns and you beat them up, this gun will not last. You're gonna get like I could picture like younger me jumping around the dirt with this airsoft gun and like cracking the plastic here, and eventually just like having a huge chunk of it missing, and then it just is a shell of what it once was. Proprietary mags, they could have just done an M4 mag design. It's really not. It really doesn't serve a purpose for a proprietary mag. Like if you get the F2000, which is probably a similar construction that uses M4 mags, I don't know why they had to go this route, but I guess for the replica aspect of it, the shape of the mag and the shape of the mag well. Reloading. It's a bullpup, so most people aren't used to doing the bullpup single-handedly with one mag, no problem. I haven't found a way, nor have I practiced like tactical reloads with two mags. My best guess is like that, but it might be faster just to dump pouch, pull out your vest, reload, which is how I've been doing it. So that's another con, are the reloads. It's just, you can't really do any cool, fancy, like L-grip tack reloads, any double mag tack reloads. You just gotta pull it out, dump pouch, new mag in. Over the course of the 2 years I've had this gun, even with the things on it that I lost or the parts on it that I broke, it still works just fine. So we're gonna lead into the story of the back plate. So I'll throw a picture up over top of what I'm talking about here, just so you can get a closer visual. Recently at the field, I went out there and the gun was shooting a lower FPS than usual. It usually shoots about 310. It was only shooting 240.
This is the one we left this one in here. That's why I said, well, for starters, I'm a dumbass.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Nope, alright, well now I know it's some other type of issue. Weird.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep that 240 mark on you.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what the issue was. I thought it was a barrel, so I changed the barrel. I thought it was like, because I used to have a barrel extension on here for an even longer barrel. I thought maybe that was getting in the way. I thought it could have been hitting the edge of the MOX suppressor, declining the FPS. Turns out none of that was true. I didn't seat the quick change spring properly, so the quick change spring popped out of the gearbox, and the quick change spring was resting on this back plate. So the quick change spring, every time you pulled the trigger, would go past the gearbox and hit this back plate, thus giving the spring more give and reducing the FPS. Because the spring kept hitting the back of the back plate, essentially what it did was, and this is where we go into the plastic construction, was it broke one of the mounts for the back plate off. And this is where you need to pay attention with this gun and take care of it, because when I went to do the quick change spring when it was shooting too hot for the field, I took it apart, I took the back plate out to get to the quick change spring. However, I lost one of the screws, and as you can see in the photo, there is 2 screw mounts here. Now, if I had both screw mounts, when the spring came loose and was hitting the back of that back plate, the tension would have been even and it probably wouldn't have broke easily. But since there was only 1 screw in and I originally had it on the left mount, it was probably pushing the back plate up and to the right, which created a little wiggle in the screw and snapped the plastic for the screw mount. So I have to be careful moving forward just to make sure that the spring's always seated properly. If you are going to get this gun, always make sure you have both screws mounted on the back plate in case anything like my similar situation happens. The spring popped out of the gearbox completely, and I was convinced that the battery had died because there was no action from the gun, but it turns out the battery wasn't dead at all. There just wasn't a spring and the gears were just spinning. Oh no, the battery died. That being said, let's go ahead and do a breakdown of this. Okay, so the way this breaks down is super simple. We're gonna pull the magazine out. You wanna pull the charging handle all the way back, lock it into place. So now it's locked because this rod that's in here for the charging handle actually locks into the barrel right there. So you then wanna push this pin down and the barrel rotates. So you can see that it turns. Just like that. And then you just can pull it forward out like that, and the whole barrel brings the hop up out with it. So this is the barrel. You just want to remove those two screws to slide the hop up out. Very easy to do barrel changes on this. That's why I threw in a longer barrel onto this thing. As for the spring change, it's going to be that back plate right there. You're going to want to remove the big flathead. This flathead piece actually is seated in the gearbox right there. So that comes loose and comes out. Now this is where I fucked up. Normally there's two screws. There's normally a screw here and a screw there. And when I first took it apart to do a spring change, I lost that one screw. I mean, this was over on this side, so I lost this screw technically. But when the spring came loose, it was just pounding against the back plate and actually broke the housing for the screw. So these two screws are very important. If you ever go to do this, do not lose these screws. So now that that's out, this little tab here, you push forward. There we go, it comes out. Now you can see the gearbox is right there. And you know what, by the looks of it, I'm just gonna go out on a whim here and say all you have to do is pop this out. These pins, which are located here and here, or that's probably the same pin. I think there's only the one pin actually. I'm sure you gotta take this out, take the upper off the lower, pop the pin out, and then you should be able to, in theory, just slide the gearbox right out. There we go. So there's normally a metal piece that slides right there that keeps this in place, so you don't have to pull it all the way out like I just did. You just push it one way and then you are able to slide the upper receiver off of the lower. This is why it's so heavy. This part right here is actually all metal compared to the rest of the unit, which is nice. Probably didn't need it. Probably would have been lighter if they just did this in plastic, because all it is guides for these rods. Maybe kept the front block metal, I guess. But having all metal is better. You can actually take this whole rail system off if you wanted to. Right there and there. And if you were, like I was talking about earlier, how the threads, you see how the threads are behind that whole area right there? You could probably take this off and modify it, cut this whole chunk out, so that way you have more access to the threads for a different style tracer if you don't have the funds to do a new tracer setup. So here's the upper receiver, here's the lower receiver. So you probably just take that pin out, you can see the gearbox in there, and just push the gearbox through. Now this is what does suck about this too, another con late in the video after I already talked about the cons, is this trigger system is, this trigger isn't right up to the gearbox. There's actually like a whole mechanism that pushes down into here and hits the gearbox trigger. But that's how it breaks down if you need to clean it or clean any other parts of it. And yeah, let's get into just how it performs on the field, and then we'll talk about the conclusion of this. Oh yeah, mud cutter. Hell yeah.
got shot by your own team. Yeah, you got shot by your own team.
Teammate!
He's taking it, he's taking it, he's taking it.
He's taking it? Alright, cool.
I don't know what you said, but go for it. Get tested!
Oh no!
No. Red team has taken back control of the tackle.
Woo!
Get the fuck out of me!
Boo!
Good man, good man.
Good shooting, Lefty. Good hit! The only one in there. Oh.
Where was he hiding?
So, in conclusion, should you buy the Snow Wolf AUG? And I honestly think definitely. If you're looking to get into a different platform and don't want to spend a bunch of money and you want an AUG, this brand, Snow Wolf, they did a terrific job with this AUG. It's actually amazing. It works really great. If you're fine with carrying a heavy gun, there's no problem there. If you're looking to get into airsoft and don't want an M4 and for some reason really want an AUG, yeah, definitely go with the Snow Wolf AUG for your first airsoft gun. Just make sure you take care of it and you won't run into the issues that I've had with this gun. Honestly, if you're a beginner, just don't even worry about taking it apart. Just take the front barrel out like we showed you to clean it and leave it at that. That is all you will need to do. You can outfit it with plenty of attachments. Well, like I said, that's just going to make it more heavy. That's the reason I don't have any optics on here and don't have any flashlights or anything. The tracer is just enough for an indoor. If you're outdoor, throw some optics on, whatever. If you're looking for an AUG and don't want to spend a ton of money, definitely get it. And that'll be the end of the video. Until next time, see you guys. I can't do like a... It doesn't go dark enough.